Good morning, good morning. It is still morning, I've checked. How's your day gone already? I have been busily, let's just move you because I don't like that not being in line. Is that OCD? It possibly is. So I've had a busy morning already. I have got up, I've taught a class, I've shouted at people to squat lower and to stretch higher and do all sorts of amazing things. So I feel good having moved my body. The sun is shining, there is blue sky, there is not a cloud. Today is going to be gorgeous, tomorrow is going to be gorgeous. So today I am getting through my work, so tomorrow I can have some time out with my boys. So if you are joining me live, please say hello. It is amazing to have people live. And why is that? Because I feed off your energy. So if I feel like I'm talking to myself, I will talk to myself and I'll share what I want to share and it'll be fine. But if you talk to me, you ask me questions as we're going and I know that it's making sense to you, I will be better for sure. Pauline, good morning, lovely. I know it's still morning. It probably feels really early for you. So I had a mammoth coaching call last night with my fabulous Academy ladies. We were on for over 2 hours, but we covered all sorts and there's some people getting into massive action in that group. We celebrated some wins of some new clients and it was fab. But yeah, we were on for over 2 hours last night. So yeah, this morning when my actual alarm went off, what's that? My alarm went off for ready to go out and teach. I was a bit like that. Surely it's not time to get up already, but it is, and it's beautiful. So it is worth making the most of the day. So for anyone who is joining me for the first time today, or you're watching on the replay, tell me you've watched. Interact as though you have been with us live, because I go back and I read the comments and I try to get through as many as I can and I will reply and I will interact with you. That's what these sessions are about. It's about sharing, it's about getting involved, asking questions as we go and making the most of this time, because this is like a free coaching session on a particular topic. So use them as much as you can. Ask me. I'll put another poll out soon around the subjects that we're going to cover for the next few weeks. So, absolutely squeeze all you can out of them. Emma, good morning, gorgeous. So today we are covering how to establish what our clients want, what our clients need. And this was voted on really close to the imposter syndrome. So we did imposter syndrome last week. So go back and check that one. All of these are always tagged in the training section. I've just discovered the unit section in the page, so I'm going to start to create some topic groups and have a play around with that. But for now, everything that is classed as training, tagged as units, down the right hand side on the desktop version, and you can go in and you can find them. Suzanne, good morning, lovely. So you can go and check out any of the old ones. You can search on a topic, and there's a heap of stuff in there. So use this as much as you can, because I totally get that when you're early days, you're just establishing what you want to do, how you want to take your message to the world. There is a whole ton of information available to you, and sometimes it's hard to kind of find what resonates with you, what you think might work for you. So if this does, and if I do, dive into that free training. But yeah, I'm regularly live. So this is our regular Thursday. As I said, I'm sorry it's a little bit later than normal, but I was teaching a very happy class full of body pumpers this morning, getting hot, getting warm, moving our bodies, and I feel full of energy for it, which is great. So what do our clients need? So if I asked you right here and now, what would you tell me? So give me an answer in the comments. What do you think right now that your clients need? What's your best guess? Do you already know? And if so, fabulous, share. What's your guess? What do you think they need? And of course, this is going to be linked with what it is you provide, because that's what the problem is you're looking to solve for them. But what is it that they're sitting or living their daily lives thinking that they need? Tell me in the thing. I'm going to have a slurp of my still warm tea from 8 o'clock this morning. Brilliant, Pauline, thank you. They need my help to save them money. Fab. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good, we all need to make sure that our money works for us, for sure, to save money. Emma, good morning. Thank you for joining. Suzanne So someone that can help solve their problem. Okay, so let's get more specific. What is the problem that you solve for them? Because I'm interested to establish what this is before we start, to see whether or not it changes through the process of what we're going to talk about. So what is the problem? What is it that they need? What are you solving for them right now? Because if you don't know, then that's a good place to start, because you're here for a reason and we're going to talk it through. I think when I started, I absolutely didn't know, by the way, so this is not a test. Oh, I'm really sore. my muscles are stiffening up already. I didn't know, so I decided the other way around. I decided what I wanted to serve, how I wanted to help people, and I kind of opened up my business and went, here we go, I can help you with this, and I could help you with that, and I could help you with your CV, I could help you prepare for an interview. All the stuff that I was doing in my work mode, I decided that that's what I would help people with. But what I hadn't done is this part. I hadn't even remotely considered what actually the problem was that they were sitting worrying about, or what their need was in terms of their own requirements. I just decided on, well, this is what I do, this is what I want to help with, so therefore they must have a problem generally around that sort of topic, so therefore why don't I help them with that? So Emma, you're someone who can help them grow in a musical skill and confidence. Yeah, brilliant, lovely. So you know that they have a desire or a need to do that, they want to grow themselves, but it adds something else to the rest of their lives. Whereas Pauline's saying someone to listen to their problems. Yeah. Suzanne, they want somebody to help their children to talk and to communicate their needs. Brilliant, beautiful. So now we're getting a little bit more specific, which is good. Okay, so let's go right back to basics. The best way of establishing what your client needs is to know who your client is. So how are you going to do that? Because lots of people go, yeah, but I haven't got like a whole heap of potential clients like knocking down my door, and I get that. So the key to this is deciding on who your ideal client is first. Why would you do that? Because it narrows it down. So if you know who the person is that you're going to talk to, you can start to communicate with them on a very personal level. So you can get to understand by the work that you do yourself what it is they need. What's the problems that they're experiencing? What are the niggles that they want to get solved? What's the thing that bugs them that they want to change about their life? If you've already thought about that, then you're 2, 3, 4 steps away from all those people who are just going, well, I'll just open up my business, hope that people come to me, and then I'll solve the problem when they get here, because I'll wait to see what they tell me the problem is. The best way to do it is to already know your ideal client. And this is talked about lots in different ways. So you can hear people talking about decide what your avatar is, your perfect client, your ICA, it's all abbreviated and all sorts. But principally, it's the same approach where you decide who you want to serve. So let's go back to basics on that. So who could you serve? You could probably potentially serve a whole heap of cross-section of society. So you might be able to serve anyone from a teenager to somebody in their retirement. You might only be able to serve women because of what you do. You might only be able to serve men. You might have a preference as to who you serve. So you've started to narrow it and narrow it and narrow it. So let's just think if you'd said, well, actually I already know that I want to serve women between the age of 20 and 50, because that gives me a nice broad stretch and I can kind of help all of those people in some sort of way. So okay, let's work that through. So then you're starting to produce what you want to deliver, and you're producing your marketing material, and that sounds like a really funky way of describing what's effectively a social media presence. It might be Instagram posts, it might be Facebook posts, it might be going on to LinkedIn and updating your profile. That is all marketing. So when you're designing and you're thinking about what you're going to post, you come up with something and you type it and you think, yeah, well, that tells them what I do. So that 20-year-old and that 50-year-old, they know what I do now. However, how you talk to a 20-year-old and what will resonate with them is totally different than how you would talk to a 50-year-old, because their life is different. They experience different things on a daily basis. Their experiences is shaped them to have a different view on life. And I'm not saying anyone's better or worse, by the way, but the way that you approach them is different. So if I was to appeal to or send my messaging more towards somebody in their retirement, I'd be talking about the fact that they've got all this experience, and that what I'm going to offer is going to add to their life. They're going to enrich it in some way. But if I'm talking to a 20-year-old, it's probably more about they want something quite quick. It's their life is much more fast-paced. They're probably looking to sort of advance their career. So what they're looking to do is very, very different. Deborah, good morning. If I haven't said hello, I'm sorry, because a load of comments just whizzed up. So when you know who it is you're talking to, you can start talking to them in much more detail. So what does that look like then? So when you know who it is you want to connect with and who it is you want to serve, because this is the bit that lots of people miss. So they get the idea of, I need to profile who my ideal client is. And they profile them and they sort of describe them, and they get to a certain level where, I think they're, a mom, they've got 2 kids, their kids are young, they do this, they do. They get to a certain level, but then they don't bring in anything from their perspective, because if you're not comfortable serving that particular demographic and that particular group of people, it's never going to totally fit for you. So when I started, and again, I draw on my experience because I've made these mistakes, I literally went, well, I'll serve anybody, anybody who is needing my help, I'll serve. So men, women, and this range, this diverse range of people started to eventually, and it took a long, long time, by the way, started to approach me. And when I first started, I was coaching confidence. And I narrowed it down to women because I felt that was going to be more of my expertise. Narrowed it down to women, and I ended up attracting somebody who had a fear of social interactions and was almost agoraphobic, and then somebody else who was looking to get promoted into a board level role where she'd be speaking in front of a large group of people. So you can see that this split in those 2 types of people was much too broad. So although, yes, I was able to help them both to a degree, if you've created a very narrow field, then the depth at which you can help somebody is so much more, and the depth at which you can connect to them. And this is the key. It's being able to connect on an emotional level and prove that you get them. You totally understand what this means to them. So I want you to answer me something. Give me the word of an emotion that your client, before you've helped them, what are they experiencing? What is one emotional word that describes the position that they're in before they've received any sort of help from you? Are they, I don't want to use too many because people just kind of latch onto those, but think about just one word, but it has to be an emotional word. It has to be a feeling that person is experiencing while they're in that place before they've helped you. So have a think about that, because that one person needs to know that you have considered how they feel. They have to know that you can connect with them about where they are right now. I'm going to have another slurp. Emma says despair. Oh, that's a strong word, but yeah, it's a good word. Regret, that's something that can eat people up, can't it? If you live in regret in one part of your life, it can spread as well, and you can end up feeling it in lots of different ways. So Deborah, you've narrowed it down to women, mindset, motivation and purpose. So women looking for women who want something for them at this time in their lives. So your word is frustration, okay? Yeah, so again, we can go narrower. So what describes that woman? We talked about it. I didn't necessarily want you to type it in, but frustration is a great word. So the way that I try and describe how to get to grips with this is to consider a darkness versus light, because when you can really describe someone's dark place, and I don't want this to sound menacing or threatening anyway, but it's their dark place is, it might be where they are right now. So it might be that they are genuinely in a place of suffering, and that they've got that sort of cloud, like a cartoon cloud over their head, and that they're struggling on a day-to-day basis. They may well be that bad, and actually your help can help them get to a light place, which we'll come to. But it might be that actually they're living their life and it's okay, it's fine, they're managing to function on a perfectly normal level, they're running through their normal routines, and it's okay. But your solution, your help can offer them something which is so much more bright and light. And actually, if they don't get the help, they might end up in the dark place. So let me use an example. So when I help people establish their businesses, I want to catch them while they're still really enthusiastic and they've still got that passion, that drive, that will, that motivation, and they're still quite they're keen to do it. Because once somebody goes down into that the slump of the dark, then things start to close in a little bit. We lose our motivation, we lose our drive, we start to sort of go into that spiral. And I want to catch people before they get there, so that actually what I'm doing is just helping them on the up and to continue on the up. But I would describe, when I talk about my ideal client, I describe the dark place as that place of, I'm close to giving up, I don't know where to turn, I'm wasting hours of my time on trying to find clients, nothing seems to work, I'm at the point of, do you know what, I think I'm just going to have to give up. So that's the dark place that I describe, because that's where it could go if you don't get the help and you're trying and you're failing and you're trying and you're failing. So it's being able to describe that for your ideal client. Now you can't do that. Let's rewind and load. You can't do that for your 20-year-old and your 50-year-old, because how this feels to them is totally different. You need it just to be one person. Now the way in which it's easiest to do this is to think of somebody that you know. So think of somebody that you can already relate to, and you've got some sort of basic understanding of their lives, what they're experiencing, and then you can add on with your own knowledge other elements of it. So you can sort of vaguely base it on someone that you might have worked with, someone that you interact with, but then you create a different and give them a different name. Otherwise they're just going to be popping into your head whenever you think about your ideal client. But you know, you don't have to sit here and just kind of invent this person. You can use yourself as well, and that's a really good place to start. So if you're helping somebody to transition from a place where you've perhaps experienced something that you've then worked your way through and developed from, describe yourself, describe that transition. Let me just read these comments before they disappear. Tell me if anyone's got any questions as we go through this, but is this starting to make sense in terms of getting to understand this dark place? Frustration, stuck, loss of identity. So these are their dark, yeah, wanting to move forward in their lives and do something for themselves. Stuck in an I'm fine mode, yeah, mediocre, love those words, yeah, old routine, break the cycle, yeah. So some of those words, Deborah, that you're describing is very much around that. It's sort of okay, but actually if they carry on that trajectory, it could go down for them, it could get worse. And I'm not a subscriber to this find someone's pain and dig the knife in. I just don't like that. I think it's unnecessarily emotional for somebody. But there's a difference between digging the knife in and opening somebody's eyes to what could happen if they continued on this trajectory. So when a good way to highlight this is if you do something around health or weight loss or fitness, nutrition, helping somebody get healthy, what you're effectively doing for them, if you're able to stop them, they might be sort of here on this trajectory of things are just kind of going, no, it's downhill, isn't it? Things are going downhill. They know they've put on weight. They know they haven't got the energy they used to have. They're feeling a little bit more unhealthy. If you can stop them here, it stops them going down into that, well, they could end up with health problems because of their weight. They're going to feel a lack of confidence, probably their self-esteem, their sort of love for life is going to decrease. Now, they might not be there yet, but you know, because you've connected in your mind with that ideal client and the route that they might go down, you want to stop them before you get to that place. So there is no harm in effectively what you're doing is opening someone's eyes to the potential of the route that they might be on. So again, for me, it's as I say, it's that. But you know that if you try and fail and you don't get over your own demons, then actually they will win and they'll push you down a road that means that you will feel the need to stop. So it's about making sure that people understand where it could go, how bad could it get if they don't get that help, and understanding how to describe that in an emotional way without kind of blaming that person. There's a way of being able to say, to almost take that neutrality, take them out of it. So make it more generic. If this continues, then this might happen. You're not pointing the finger and saying you need to sort this problem out because you need to this, that, and this, and that makes it very sort of almost a blame, and no one likes that feeling. But making sure that they're aware of what could happen if they don't fix this thing is key to you understanding and getting to grips with that dark place. Once you can describe the dark place, you then have the fun of describing the light place. Let me just read Deborah's comments before we go on to light. Definitely not. It's the cost of the pain of the things staying as they are versus taking action to resolve it. Yeah, over time it can create that. A cost, and it's sort of a lack of opportunity for a lot of people as well. How good could it be if you do this, this and this? So Emma's saying middle-aged adults who have a regret about not following their love of music because they've maybe had a negative experience. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, totally had that. I joined the choir and I had to I got shuffled to the back, and then eventually they said, no, you can't be in the choir. That's fine. I sing now on my microphone on a morning when I teach, and I don't care. But it does interesting things to you in terms of your confidence when you get told you can't do something. Lower their self-esteem, yeah, spills into other areas of life, totally, yeah. So the dark place then, Emma, from your perspective, is that they've not experienced the potential joy, they've not been able to develop a new skill, and we all know that developing a new skill in one area can actually help you develop a desire and a love of something else as well. So it literally can grow out into your life. Learning a language is something that inspires all sorts of thoughts in your head, and it just gets that brain firing again. Oh no, I've lost all the comments. Where have they gone? There we are. Love singing. Maybe we should have a little sing along. There's a lady on my LinkedIn feed who's been trying to encourage people through lockdown to sing, and she occasionally pops up and she's literally in full song, and it's amazing. It's beautiful to see. It's such a break from the boring people chatting away on my feeds. So we have an ideal client in mind. They have a name. They have a very specific. So Emma, going back to yours, your middle-aged adults. I want you to narrow that even more. So pick a gender, pick an age, one age, because they can't. Your one person can't be between 40 and 50. They need to be one age so that you can really understand what their life looks like. Are they married? Do they have kids? What age are their kids? Do they have pets? Do they live in a semi? Do they live in a detached house? Do they like gardening? Do they like this? Because the more you get to know these people, the more you can understand where they might be. Because when we take this further, and this is a big part of the academy, to really totally get under the skin of your client, your ideal client, because you've got to go to where they are. When you know them, you can go and you can find them in little congregations online. So you can go and find them in a different group and say, well, I know that because you're my ideal client, you probably have an interest in gardening. I'm putting it out there, Emma, it's a total guess. They might be interested in gardening, but also have an interest in music. So you can they have their core of interests that are the main things that you would obviously go to, because they've got a love of music. So they've probably got people they follow and groups that they're involved in because of their love of music. But what else? What else is that second level of? They might also be interested in, gardening. It sounds really hideously stereotypical. I don't know your ideal client, so they might be interested in collecting things. I don't know, bowls. I'm thinking of grandparents. That's bad, isn't it? Wherever it is that they then additionally hang out. Where else are they likely to congregate? And lo and behold, if you go into that field and go, hello, I also do this, it's something different, but it complements the other thing that they're involved with. So you're almost sort of finding this this vein of interests that you can get to. So you love gardening. I don't mind it. I will keep singing. I have a head mic and everything. I am Britney Spears. Totally Britney Spears whilst doing weight training. It's most bizarre. So when you've got your ideal client, that's what we talked about first. Then we talked about their dark place. So using the emotional words that describe their dark place, not a very surface level, I'd like to learn to play an instrument. That's not deep enough. We need to go deep, 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 and getting right into that whole, well, what is it now, and what could it be if you don't get that help? The opposite of that, light. Think sunshine, think bright, think fulfilled, think happy people, think energetic people, think, you know, the weight of the world is lifted. They're able to give freely, love freely, enjoy their relationships, enjoy their life. They feel amazing. All of that good stuff that you're going to help them with. So Suzanne, your communication one with their children, how is that going to feel in their household when they can start properly communicating with their child? That previously has been, the child's been frustrated, the siblings have been frustrated, mum and dad argue because there's just this tension, compared to, wow, isn't this just like so much easier? Every day it's fun to be with the kids. It's not a stress and it's not a pressure that's going on. So describing where they're going to be after they've received your help is their light. So give me some words now, just the odd word that describes their light place. So it's really, in a way, it's a simple exercise to do. If you get a piece of paper, write down a load of words, not massive sentences, just a load of words that describe their dark, and then you literally use the thesaurus if you need to, look up the opposite, and there are your light words. And soon you'll start to configure these into sentences and descriptions. So what are they going to experience? How are they going to feel? Tell me. Fitness classes, they're not going to experience that. That was another. Freedom. What's that mean? What does that mean? What's freedom? Because freedom to everybody is something different. Like literally, we are all sat here today as free people, aren't we? We have our will, we have freedom of expression, we have freedom of speech. It's a word used all the time. What does it mean to your ideal client? Not necessarily you, but to your ideal client. What's it mean they're going to be able to do? So I want us to really dig into this light. What's on the other side of this world for them? Fulfillment and empowerment. So Emma, what's that going to mean for them? How is that going to change their daily life? It's going to give them joy, okay? Then what? So all the time we write these words, I want you to hear my voice in your head going, so what? So what? What does it mean? What will that mean to them? How is that going to change their life? And keep going and keep going and keep going. Because the more you can say, so what, and answer the question, so what, and answer that question. I nearly read your comment as I was saying that. The more you can get down to that, well, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? The more connected you are in your messaging for your ideal client. And now, right here, this is where we are talking about what your ideal client needs. They need you to be able to help them get to this, right here, this set of feelings, these emotions, this experience, this sensation, this thing in their lives. This is what you need to get them to. So, Deborah says, freedom, truly empowered in themselves. Freedom equals truly empowered in themselves. So how will I wake up on a morning as your ideal client, having had you help me? How am I going to know that that's what I feel? Is it going to mean that I can, I don't know, go and start a new relationship that perhaps I've not been ready to do? Does it mean that I'm going to be able to do something different with my life? Does it mean, so how, you know, what am I going to, how am I going to feel differently compared to what I was? Because lots of these statements, and we all see it, so we all end up getting all these various adverts, don't we? And like, as soon as you start looking into these things, all these adverts come up, and there's a massive variety of the way that people are able to connect with us. And some talk about, it's almost like that, like there's this buzzword of, well, we'll talk about freedom, we'll talk about feeling this, we'll talk about this. And nobody actually, for me, very few people truly describe what that means to me. And it's when you can describe it just for your ideal client. So this shouldn't apply to lots of people, and that's fine. Don't make woolly statements that if your 20-year-old reads it, goes, oh, that sounds nice, and your 50-year-old reads it and goes, oh, that sounds nice too. Don't make statements that mean the same to them, because it's surface level. You don't want someone to read your stuff or to see what you do and go, oh, that's nice. You want them to read it and go, I so need that. That sums up what I need. That sums up how I'm feeling and how I want to feel. You need to kind of hit the nail on the head and be able to get to a point where if you were in a conversation with one of these people, with your ideal client, and you're talking about how they might feel, how it is that they're experiencing some of these things and how things might be, you want to get to the point where that person says, oh, whoa, it's like you're in my head. It's like I've already met you. It's like this, it's like this. Because you have taken the time to consider how they feel, to consider how they might feel, how they could feel, and now how they are going to feel if they get your help as well. If you don't take the time considering it, then you're having to sort of constantly think on your feet about, well, how am I going to be able to help this person because they were different than the last person and the last person was different to them. So every time you enter into any sort of dialogue with a potential client, it's like starting all over again, and you're having to do this work like on the fly whilst potentially having a sales conversation, which you just don't need. You need to know that that person is already 9/10 known to you. And it makes the discussion so much easier because you've already get them. They know that you get them. So it's way, way easier. Let me go back. Right, so Pauline says, you want them to feel over the moon, financial freedom. Yeah. Suzanne, relieved to be able to have that conversation and understand their child's needs. Yeah. So again, what does that mean? So when they can have that conversation, yes, they feel relief, but what's that going to do to their life? How's that going to transform their day to day? You know, I get up on a morning and now I feel this, or I'm able to do this, or I experience life through these eyes, or I do this, or I do this, I do this. You have to get to that really, truly, what is it that it's going to mean for me? And the reason you've got to get there, you know, let's go back to the title of this. What is it my client needs? If you can fulfill and tell them that you can fulfill their need, they will want to pay you to help them because they can't do this on their own. The reason they can't do this on their own is that they don't have the expertise that you have. And if they could have done this stuff on their own, they would have done it on their own, wouldn't they? They'd have sorted it, they'd have fixed it, they'd have dealt with it. But they can't, and they don't have the expertise that you do. So by knowing what they need, by you knowing what they need, then means that you can show them and demonstrate to them how you and only you can help them with that thing. So you're able to then say, well, I know how you're feeling right now. You're feeling all these things which are not good. I know that you could feel all of these things. And then the next stage, so like the second part of this effective process we're going through right now, next stage is, well, here's the offer that I've got for you. Here is the way in which I can help you. And I know that you can succeed in that because of XYZ for your specific niche. Okay, so Emma says, so what? That was your A-level English literature. You used to write it all over your essays. Yeah, true, there you go. So, well, I went on a training course years ago where somebody had a stamp. They had a stamp made up of so what. And you'd make all these statements about the time. It was a sales course, so it was all about coming up with the features and benefits of the thing you were trying to sell. And they would literally like give you a pen and go, right, you've got to learn to sell this thing. Oh, it was painful, but you'd write down all of these statements and they'd go, so what, so what, so what. And you know, you thought you'd nailed how amazing this pen was, but actually until you got to the point of being able to say, it's not about the pen, it's about what the pen will enable you to do, and about the way that it can help you in your life and make your life easier and quicker, and you'll be able to then save time. And it's only when you got to that and you actually stopped talking about the pen had you got to that level. And that's why we say, well, if you talk about a feature or a benefit of something that you do and you say, you know, I provide you with going back to the diet and fitness, I provide you with a meal plan. Here you go, here's your meal plan. Well, so what? I don't want a meal plan. Well, if I provide you with that, it'll enable you to keep yourself on track and this and that. Well, so what? So what? So what? So what? It's going to help you meet your goals, which is going to fulfill you in terms of getting your body to a place it wants to be. You're going to feel healthy. You're going to have more energy. It will transform your life. Okay, now it's starting to make sense, my so what's. Deborah had a lovely message from a lady that you've been mentoring for a few years, and the way she described it was that her life has been transformed. Beautiful. She feels at peace, but stronger emotionally and mentally, and this set of transformational effects on her personal life. Her life with her kids, beautiful. How she spends her time, who she spends it with. Brilliant, really good. So you've got loads of words in there, loads and loads of words that you can use as a real specific. So when you think about your ideal client, have her in mind. So think about where she was when she started with you. What journey did she go on? And you know, lots of you have got people that you've already been working with. You've maybe done something in your past that you're bringing now into a business of your own. So draw on that. You know, you don't have to sit here with a blank piece of paper, totally starting from scratch now. Bring from what you've already experienced. But Deborah, that's beautiful. I hope you got some sort of testimonial or like something you can use from that, because that's beautiful. Suzanne said, to be able to understand and meet their child's needs so that they're happy, relieved, stress-free, and from trying to guess what they want. Yeah, brilliant. Really good. So that second half, yeah, happy, relieved, stress-free, really good. Emma says, you had a client who always wanted to learn to sing better, but having a negative experience her school days helped her. Oh, it's whizzing through. Oh, I've lost it. We chose a song and prepared to record. Oh, wow. Recorded it. Oh, amazing. At the wedding reception. That's fabulous. Okay, so she felt happier, more confident, and she's learnt a new skill at 57. Bonus. Excellent. So, oh, Deborah, question. Why will people go straight to have their nails and hair done, go to spa doctors trying to fight weight loss? Or lighter, instead of a few examples. But they don't want to consider paying for coaching. Yeah, really good. It's a good question, isn't it? It's a tough one. I think when people really truly understand the benefit of coaching, and not everybody does, they don't understand that actually it's something which can enrich their lives in so many different ways, regardless of the subject it is that you help someone with, the process of being coached and exploring your own motivations, the things that might hold you back. There's so many levels to coaching that actually, if everybody could understand that, but yeah, it's the mass mentality of actually I want a quick fix, I want something that's easy, I want something that gives me kind of that initial like a hit, almost like I want a quick, I get my hair done, get my nails done, I feel better. Actually, they've not dealt with the problem underneath, the deep-seated problem, but it's hard. Being coached, truly being coached, is hard, and it's not necessarily an easy path to go down. So if there's a quicker one and an easier one, then people will go for that, which is frustrating, particularly when you are a coach and you recognise how beneficial it is. Anyway, we slightly digress. So you've got some fabulous examples there, but if you don't have examples because maybe you haven't worked with someone yet, you're still to get your first client, and you just can't draw on anyone to sort of use that as an example as about where they're going to go to, then do some research. Think about the way, that's my kids' friends looking to play. Think about the way in which you would feel if you were standing in their shoes. And then the more you go out and you do your research around, well, where are they? What are they describing? You're going to get a feel for it. The other great way, here's a top tip in terms of your research, is go to Amazon and search for something related to what you do. So it might be a book, it might be a self-help guide, it might be textbook, piece of fiction that relates to your subject matter. Go to Amazon, look it up, and then read the reviews, because it's amazing what people put in these reviews about perhaps why they bought that thing. We're very much into this sort of self-help culture at the moment, which I'm not a massive subscriber to. I'm all for personal development and trying to take yourself forward in your life, but I think self-help has only got a certain amount that it can help you with. But as people are talking about what they do and they're describing what they're looking to get help with, they're really detailed. So you can often find that people will say, I bought this book on teach yourself to play a musical instrument, picking on Emma, because I wanted help to feel this. I bought this book and it's now helped me feel this, and this. And they'll sometimes criticise the book or the audio or the training video, whatever it is they've bought, because it didn't solve the problem they wanted to help. So you can get a massive insight into what isn't working and what are still the problems that people are experiencing. YouTube lessons, yeah, of course they can. You can have a good old go, can't you? But there is nothing like having somebody literally sit by you. And I don't care what it is you offer, it's the same. Having someone listen to what you say or play in front of you, it's specific to you. That's the beauty of it. So it's bespoke, it's tailored, it's specific for your requirements. So that nothing can replace that, but we all have a good old go, don't we? We all have a good old try, and we think that if we buy 3 or 4 books on the subject, read them all, do the YouTube videos, watch the training, then we're done, and there we go, I'm good to go now. But it's probably only skimmed the surface. But that's another really good way of starting to see what's the language that's being used in these, how are people describing their problem and where they want to take it. You read the reviews, then follow your gut feeling. Yeah, I mean, the reviews, don't get me wrong, they've got a place, and I'm a big believer in the reviews. I'll see what people think, and if someone sounds like they had the same question that I did, or you're buying the product for the same reason that I did, and they say it's good, then I'll buy it. We're all really good at that, but what you want to be doing is looking at the review from the perspective of research. So you're looking to see what your ideal clients are saying about the thing they're thinking about buying. I'm not saying go and buy it and do it yourself, far from it. Go and see what your ideal clients are saying about it. Does that make sense? So let me quickly summarise, because I've been talking for ages. Thank you for being with me, by the way. So you need to understand one ideal client, just one. And this, when I first say this to people, they're a bit like, really? I don't want to narrow it down. That's going to cut off and alienate all those other people that I can help. Actually, the total opposite is true. You're going to bring towards you those people that are genuinely your people that you know you can help. So rather than alienating a load, you're resonating much more on a deeper level with those that you know you can help. So it's flipping it. It's looking at it the other way. You're going to go deep with those people that you know you can help, and those that are on like the peripheral, they're not your people at the moment. But this is not set in stone. This is not necessarily going to be forever. When you're first trying to get the traction in your business, you want to get those clients in regularly, then having it narrow is so less overwhelming for you, because you're suddenly not trying to appeal to that group of people and that group of people and that group of people. You are only trying to appeal to one type of person. So narrow down your ideal client. When you've got your ideal client in mind, define their dark place. Now, you can use lots and lots of words if you want to, create a vision board if you want to, create a collage of what they're likely to be experiencing. Remember, they may not be in that place right now, but this could be where they might go if they don't get your help. So try and get as deep as possible on an emotional level. What are they not experiencing? What are they not enjoying in life? Where could they end up going if they don't get your help? So it's a real dark, it's a dreary, it's not a nice place to be in. And get to grips with it and get comfortable talking about that too, because if you're able to describe it to somebody in quite a lot of detail, then it's going to come out much more naturally, because it's not necessarily nice to say to somebody, well, you know that if you don't get help, your business might well fail. I don't like saying that to somebody, but I'm only saying what they probably already know. But the more times that I have those conversations, the easier and more comfortable I am saying it. If someone just suddenly said, well, get on a call for the first time and tell someone their business is on the road to failure, I'd really struggle with that. So start getting comfortable with describing that dark place. Then the opposite, the really good place, that's the light. So get, again, really comfortable to use the emotive language about how that person feels and how that how that can light them up and make their life more fulfilled, and it's all going to feel amazing. Get really comfortable describing that light place. And then your final piece is go and get some research. So go and connect with some people that might be your ideal client. Look at the language they're using on things like those reviews. And the more you connect, the more that you build up effectively your vocabulary of this is the two dark and light places, the more you can be specific about what it is they need. And then your next stage, your final stage, is around making an offer and creating something which fulfills their need, because it takes them from the dark place that you now know to the light place they now know. You are effectively that bridge across the two, and you're going to fulfill that gap for them. So any final questions? Let me just read the last comments. They are coming up a little bit slow, so sorry about that. Drop any final questions in. Tell me if this has been helpful too. It's always good to know. Okay, so Deborah says, some excellent books out there addressing specific problems, but they shouldn't come under self-help. Yeah, there are some. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there are some dreadful bits of advice on so many different topics as well, and people purporting to be absolute experts, and they can for some people do quite a lot of damage. So yeah, there's a balance, isn't there? So while you're just having to think whether you've got any final questions, let me just remind you about the Business Accelerator. Deborah, you are well on your way with that. Thank you so much for telling everybody how you were feeling and how you're finding that so far. So that is now fully tested. So far so good. There wasn't any queries with it, but that is now available to you for £99. So there are 6 areas, 4 bonuses, and over 5 hours of content in that training. So it covers everything. We touch on the ideal client like we have today. Then it goes further into how to develop your offer, how to create your marketing, and there's just heaps in there. Emma, you're doing it as well, aren't you? So it's a really, really good place to start, that it can just give you those pointers to get you back on track, get you back focused. It's an absolute steal for good reason, because I want you to get used to what I do. I want you to see the potential of how much it can shift you to be able to get that help. So that's available for, oh, thank you, Emma. That's available for £99. And then the only other thing, I'll drop the link onto the top of this, what's this? This live. The only other final one is that I'm going to be a guest speaker. Ooh. So I'm going to go and do one of these in somebody else's group. I've been asked to do a little slot in another female empowerment group. I can't remember the name of it, but it's empowerment something or other. So it's very much a synergy with this group. So go and have a look down my feed. I've said where it is. If you want to pop over and watch me in there, it'd be brilliant. It's another group, so you get an opportunity to again join another group of fabulous women all doing a similar thing. So that's at 6 o'clock tonight. I will see you really soon, but we'll be back again at 10:30 normal time next week. Please drop me a note if you have got any questions about the Business Accelerator before you hit go. But yeah, it's really good. Oh, so Deborah's saying, yeah, loving it. She's loving it. It's a no-brainer. It's what, just over a tank of fuel, maybe 2 tanks of fuel, and you could literally start applying these things straight away. So it's a great little course. Thank you ever so much for being with me. Thank you for your comments. As I say, it makes a whole heap of difference to what I do. Fiona, I don't know whether you're still on, so I've just seen that you said hello near the end. Go and have a great few days, and I will see you all really soon. Bye. See you later.